2024 GR86, this thing just came off the boat, 7/24 manufacture date, just about 1,000 miles. The customer plans for this to be a track-only car, and while we're waiting for the Veris pan, he wants to preemptively do an oil strainer cleaning and see if there's any issues. Why don't we go take a look? It was tough to get a clear photo, but upon first inspection, not very much inside the oil strainer, which really doesn't surprise me. It seems like they've been making manufacturing updates, as you guys have seen, as the cars get newer. So if we see what we pulled out of the oil strainer, it's a little bit of a different story. I think I've only done a few 2024 oil pan drops, but it seems like in every one, of course the updated gray RTV, but pretty disappointing. The amount of RTV applied from the factory is still pretty much the same amount that we were seeing in 2022. So definitely an excess amount, grossly more than the factory service manual specs. With that being said, why don't we see what we pulled out of the oil strainer? All right, so not as much of a surprise for me since this is the latest model 24. Very little amount. Still a lot of these small scary pieces. Scary because they can get through the grates of the oil pickup. I was really hoping to find Pokemon in this one. But what we did find was our old friend Mr. Scotch-Brite. Someone tell us please, what is this Scotch-Brite type material that we're finding in the engines? One good sight to see, none of that long black stringy stuff from the cam carriers. That stuff was especially scary because those thin strands, I've definitely seen them get stuck and halfway sucked into past the grates of the oil strainer before. Today, instead of RTV, we're using this oil pan gasket from Battle Garage. This is a cork-based gasket. I helped develop this alongside Battle Garage. In my mind, I was thinking of a material that they use for automatic transmission pans. It's common automatic transmissions will see higher temperatures than engine oil and have a much harsher life. There's also a lot more detergents in ATF, which means it's harder on gaskets. So I thought something that was suited for ATF would be suited as material for the oil pan gasket. I believe this is rated up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, much cleaner job if the customer already plans for the Veris pan. The customer already plans to install the Veris pan after this, and this is gonna make it a much cleaner job to put on the new pan. No more scraping two sides of silicone on the engine and the oil pan. It's pretty much just throw this guy away and put a new one on. Also, one thing we don't often talk about, there's only so many times you can scrape RTV off of a surface before it starts damaging the surface. And especially I'm talking about that aluminum upper oil pan or pan rail on the engine. Only so many times you can keep scraping that thing before it gets gouged up or the flatness changes on that thing, no matter how careful you are. In fact, we'll show some pictures. Someone local actually tried to DIY the oil strainer cleaning job and destroyed the upper oil pan and actually asked us for a quote on a upper oil pan replacement. Really scary stuff. And if you've been following along, it seems like there is a correlation if there's not much material inside the oil filter, which this guy's basically almost completely clean. That was a good indication in this case that there was not much blocking the oil strainer.